وعلى آله وصحبه ومن تمسك بسنته إلى يوم الدين وسلم تسليما كثيرا أما بعد. We continue, brothers and sisters, on this day, which is still Sunday, March the 8th. Well, technically it's the 14th of Rajab. Correct me if I'm wrong, everyone. The 14th of Rajab, this blessed night, inshallah, which is technically Monday night, according to the Islamic calendar. That's tonight, technically, according to the Islamic calendar, is Monday. The 14th of Rajab, the year 1441, after the migration of our Prophet, alayhi salatu wasalam. There's no more left of Ramadan, I think, expecting by no more than a month and a week. Something like that. Wow. To let you know how time is fast, is moving very expeditiously, very, very quickly. So right, Ramadan is approximately about a month and a week, if I'm not mistaken. About a month and a week. So Allah yuballighna iyyah. As we continue in this blessed treatise of Kitaab At-Tawheed, which is from the books which is needed in these days and times in order for us to survive in the trying times that we live, because we live in some very serious trying times where it's very chaotic around us in so many ways. Not only is people being tested in their families and their children, but they even being tested of just merely journeying out in society, in the streets, to the point where people don't even feel secure anymore. There's somebody who's insane will come and they do not feel that security or tranquility or that safety. And for that reason, like we said, we work diligently in trying to prepare our youth for this crazy, evil future that they will embark upon. And then we just try to make sure that they're prepared. And then if something happens to us, then we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect them. For one of the ways that we prepare for these children for their future is this chapter which is pertaining to one being patient upon the divine decree and destiny of Allah Ta'ala. As we talked about the great Imam that he put this in the chapter to enlighten us in regards to what is true faith, true Iman. From the ways of the belief, if one wants to purify it and meet Allah with a sound heart and die in a sound state, then he has to believe in the qadr. He believes in the divine decree and destiny of Allah. As the divine decree and destiny of Allah Ta'ala is from Iman. It's from Iman in Allah. As we talked about the hadith of Jibreel, when angel Jibreel came to the Messenger of Allah, asked him concerning the 6 articles of faith. And from those 6 articles of faith, as the Messenger of Allah has said to angel Jibreel alayhi salam, the Prophet ﷺ answered and said, "Tu'mina bil qadri khayrihi wa sharrihi," that you believe in the divine decree or the destiny of Allah, the good of it and the evil of it. So when we stop there, brothers and sisters, the whole chapter revolves around a person being patient upon what? The divine decree of Allah. Well, these are from the most difficult of affairs. These affairs are very difficult, especially when we are tested in our lives with certain things that happen, either expectedly or unexpectedly. Either expected or unexpected. But all of it revolves around the qadr of Allah, the divine decree, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as we know, 50,000 years before He created the heavens and the earth, He knew that we were going to be here in this particular moment studying Kitaab At-Tawheed. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had infinite knowledge of this affair and that we will be here at this present time, studying the greatest of all knowledge, which is the monotheism and the unification of Allah in His worship. Where we stopped at last class, brothers and sisters, we talked about while we're in this world that we are patient and steadfast upon 3 affairs concerning the qadr. Or excuse me, no. As far as patience, I meant to say. So we said the first category was to be patient upon what? The obedience of Allah. We said one has to have patience when obeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and carrying out his duties. One has to have patience. As we talked about last class. For his duties, sometimes subhanahu wa ta'ala, as we know, has in certain instances, it has some type of, or exerts some type of energy. When one has to stand up and actually do it. Even though the human body seeks and wants relaxation. But one forsakes his rest in order to seek the reward with Allah and seek Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's pleasure. So we said that's the first type of patience. That one has to have patience in order to carry out Allah's commands. When you get up for Fajr in the morning, sometimes you're going to continue to sleep and relax, but you forsake your bed, seeking the reward with Allah ta'ala, and seeking out what He has prepared for those who forsake their relaxation and put it off in order to what? Seek His face and His reward. Also in regards to fasting, also in regards to taking care of our families, all these are affairs that requires patience. We do it seeking the reward with Allah. We do that seeking the reward with Allah. Also being patient with our children as they do things that sometimes irritate us. I'm sure everyone is aware for those who have children. They do things that irritate us, and you need patience to endure it and to have what will be as a benefit for them, where you endure some of the things that sometimes, like he said, like we mentioned, sometimes will irritate the individual. And all of these things you need patience. For verily the patience with the obedience of Allah is, like we mentioned, is the first category. Then we talked about the second, which is to be patient from abstaining or refraining from disobeying Allah. From not following your desires, and that was the second. And the third was what, everyone? The third is to be patient with the destiny of Allah. The divine decree of Allah. The divine decree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala needs patience. Because those affairs, like we said, are the most difficult of what we face in our lives. Whether it be in our bodies, our health, our children, our relationships, and our families. And we know, as Ibn al-Qayyim says, just merely being a human being is a fitna. You even need to have patience with yourself. Because being a human being in itself is a fitna. It's a trial and a test. Just merely being human is a fitna. Merely being a human being is a fitna. And that you need tawfiq and help from Allah, that He even aids you upon yourself. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? That Allah gives you aid with your own self. So you can be directed in what will be success and will be prosperity for yourself in the hereafter. So the third category is what we stopped at. And we said, last class, right, everyone? Well, we said the qadr, or the word qadr, number one, is connected with the lordship of Allah. The qadr. What is the qadr, everyone? Divine decree, destiny, the divine, or what was written prior before it happening. All these affairs are true. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have written everything in its existence to be systematically in accordance to what was written down 50,000 years before the heavens and the earth was created. We said the qadr of Allah tabarak wa ta'ala, we stopped at last class, that it breaks down to two types in this instance, and what I'm speaking about now. You have what they call the maqdur. The maqdur. What happened? What actually happened? This is what I said last class. What happened? What took place? What happened? The maqdur. The maqdur. What happened? What took place? Depending on what it is, then one could either like it or one could detest it, depending on what it is. In certain situations, I'll explain, don't worry. The second category is Allah Himself, the one who allowed it to happen, the Muqaddir. The one who allowed it to happen, who's Allah. Write this down. The first thing is the thing that happened. And the second thing is the one who decreed it. The one who decreed it. Who's who? Who's Allah. In regards to Allah, it's obligatory for you to be pleased with it and to be patient with it. In regards to Allah, who's the one who allowed it to happen, it's obligatory for you to be what? Patient with it and be pleased with it. It's obligatory for you to be what? Patient and pleased with it. Example. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, may Allah forbid and no one be tested with this, allow your child to die due to some type of freak accident. Something happened. A person would say, subhanAllah, out of all things, out of all examples, because I have to give these examples. These are the most, like we said, every time, every class, what I say, these are the easiest affairs to understand, and they're what? They're the hardest to apply. Your child dies, freak accident, something happened, you're walking on the road, bang, something happened. Of course, it's permissible to feel sadness and grief. And in the instance of what happened as far as oppression, of course you're going to hate it. Of the actual thing that took place. Of someone who transgressed the bounds. They might have been speeding in the road, driving recklessly. Accidentally what? Hit your child. You hate it. As far as what happened, you're not pleased with it. But in regards to Allah, ultimately your belief is what? Allah allowed it to happen. For a reason. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allowed it to happen for a reason. It's hard to swallow. I know everyone in this room, even myself, I think about somebody just hit my son, bang. That is the hardest thing to swallow. But we have to give realistic examples so we can know how these things apply in our daily lives. How many people, I know people that woke up in the hospital, never thought nothing would happen, woke up one morning and they became blind all of a sudden. All of a sudden they lost their sight. Out of nowhere. Just gone like that. Happens. Like I told brothers what happened with me. I never thought that when I was 14 years old that my mother would die right in front of me. I just woke up one morning, came to the hospital, flatline right in front of me. I wasn't expecting that to happen today. It happened. Things happen. So now everyone learns Kitaab At-Tawheed. So now it's time to apply what you know. So this is the issue right here. When it comes to applying application of this, it is the hardest to apply. When realistic things happen, realistically in our lives, they're very traumatic. Things that are severe takes place, now it's time to apply it. Like I told you, I didn't know that my mother was going to die. I didn't know my sister was going to get murdered. Woke up one morning, bang, I heard my sister was murdered. Dead. What was I supposed to do? I didn't have Islam, I didn't have this knowledge. So now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has bestowed His favor upon us where we have this knowledge. To what? To know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decreed it for a reason. It's a reason why it happened. It's a reason why Allah allowed it to happen. So in regards to Allah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is obligatory what? To be pleased and patient. In regards to Allah. In regards to what took place, now one could detest it, depending on what it is. Depending on the circumstance or what it is. In a certain instances, it's obligatory for you to hate it. For example, Allah decreed, for example, that polytheism be in the earth. Allah allowed it to happen. Don't we see people committing disbelief in polytheism? Aren't we supposed to what? hate it. It's obligatory. It's obligatory to hate polytheism. It's obligatory to hate disbelief. It's obligatory to hate innovations, innovative matters. We're supposed to what? To test it. It's obligatory for us to hate, for example, fornication, drugs, alcohol, intoxicants, music. These are things that actually what? Happen. That's the maqdur. And in this instance, it's obligatory for us to what? It's obligatory for us to what, everyone? Hate it. Is it or not? Are we supposed to love music and love? You understand? Right, so that's the reason why we're breaking it down to two categories. Number one, in regards to Allah. Number two, the maqdur, which is the actual thing that what? The actual thing that happened. Is it clear or is it not clear? Right. For example, even the great Imam Ibn Uthaymeen mentioned this. He said, for example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decreed قدر الله على السيارة شخص أن تحترق فكون الله قدر أن تحترق هذا قدر عفوا فكون الله قدر أن تحترق هذا قدر يجب على الإنسان يرضى به لأنه من تمام الرضا بالله ربا. طيب. For example, it's obligatory for us to be pleased in regards to Allah and be patient, of course. He said, for example, Allah decreed that your car burn up. So you come out, car is somebody broke into it. So you see how these things are applicable every day in our everyday lives. You just happen to come outside, someone, bang, hits the side of your car, and they left. Somebody swiped it, came out like, wow, subhanAllah, how'd that happen? You understand? Right. Or, for example, your car burnt up. Then he goes on to say, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala predetermined and destined for that to happen. So this is the divine decree of Allah. This is His destiny. It's obligatory in regards to Allah for what, everyone? For one to be pleased with Him. Why? Because this is from the affairs that's connected with the rububiyyah, the lordship of Allah. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allows something to happen, that is from His actions. Subhanahu wa ta'ala, that is from His lordship. Lordship means what, everyone? Means the actions of Allah. What Allah allows to happen, or what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not allow to happen. That is all connected with His lordship. All of these affairs are connected with His lordship, meaning what He allowed to happen or what He did not allow to happen. Is it clear or is it not clear, everyone? So, the fact that you're pleased with what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has allowed to happen, that's from the accurate, precise statement when you say that you're pleased with Allah as your Lord. In order to actualize that statement comes the most difficult of affairs, which is when something traumatic happens in your life. When something traumatic happens in your life, everyone, when that happens, the belief that you submitted to the divine decree and destiny of Allah, when something severe happens in your life, is from the accurate belief of you saying that you believe in Allah as being your Lord, which is hard, which is very hard. Very hard to come out and see, for example, that someone dear or beloved to us died, or was killed, or was murdered, or we lost something precious to us. Like I told you, I know people who woke up, they couldn't hear anymore, out of nowhere. They woke up, all their eyesight was gone. They woke up one day, went to the hospital, found out that their arms or their legs had to be what? Had to be amputated. They wasn't ready for that, but it happened. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? They woke up one day, their mother died. They woke up one day, found out that their child was murdered. Woke up one day and found out that their child was what? That somebody had harmed them. And the list goes on and on and on and on and on. You understand everyone? So now, when these things apply in your life, it's incumbent upon you now to what? Start applying this particular what? Affair. And it'll... Yeah. أخي تعرف الموسيقى محرمة يا الله يحفظكم خاصة داخل المسجد ما يصلح طفئ الله يحفظكم كيف طفئه خليه على الصامت الله يحفظكم تدري كيف خليه على الصامت الله يحفظكم ما يصلح Anyway, what was I saying? I forgot. Such as this. Just that was the example. Don't say that. Don't say that. Don't say that. That was an example. Khalas. See what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala preordained and decreed? An example just happened right in front of us. Fine. So in regards to Allah allowing that to happen, we're pleased with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala determined that to happen. At the same time, we still detested the fact that that happened in the masjid. You understand, everyone? So you have a clear example. So you had a life example just now. Tahib. So those affairs, like we said, you'll find that Ibn al-Qayyim. Matter of fact, before I talk about that. So in regards to what took place with the car burning up, of course, in regards to Allah, and what Allah predetermined, one has to have patience and be pleased with what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has what? Has allowed to happen. Fine. What about, now this is the affair I wanted to focus on. What took place, which is called the maqdur. Depending on what it is, of course, then one could hate it, or if it's obedience, then you will love it. And according to the situation, and what it is, what's the circumstance, or what took place, depends on whether or not you will hate it or you will what? Be pleased with it, as we discussed, right? For example, in regards to the maqdur, what happened could be obedience of Allah. And it could be what? Disobedience. Right, everyone? Is it clear what I'm saying? Fine. In regards to what is obedience, of course, we're pleased with that. In disobedience, then we're what? Then we will hate it, right? Fine. Some of the things that take place, this is another detail, can be absolute actions of Allah. What do I mean by that? Can someone give me an example of that? That's easy, huh? I'm sorry. Ahsant. Earthquakes, hurricanes. Earthquakes and hurricanes. That's what you call afa'al Allah al-mahda. Absolute pure actions of Allah. Is it clear? Obedience is actions of who? Human beings, of course. What they choose to do. And disobedience is what? Actions of who? Of the human beings and what they choose to do from their own accord, right? But certain things are just absolute pure what? Actions of Allah. Such as rain, such as snow, such as ice, such as hurricanes, and what goes on and goes on. But ahsant, a plague to the end of it. Obedience, of course, we know, it's obligatory for us to be what? Pleased with it. Disobedience is not permissible what? For us to be pleased with it. Now, as far as those affairs that are absolute actions of Allah to be with the Allah, then we are what? They're absolute pure actions of Allah. Of course, we're sad for what took place of innocent human beings, but still of human beings that might have lost their lives. But in regards to still the actions of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, one still has to be what? Pleased with it and patient with it, regardless of the circumstance, even if it's the pure actions of Allah. As I talked about and discussed this last class, didn't I say that, everyone? Of certain people that say, why did Allah allow those certain people that happened in that land? Why did they die? Why did they have to die from starvation? Why did they have to die from a drought? Or why did they have to die from from different types of catastrophes that might have happened? Right, everyone? That's what we mentioned last class. The person saying, like we talked about the satanic thought that pops in your mind. For example, Shaitan will say, if there's no God, if that was the case, why he allowed those innocent children to die? There is no God. If there was God, why do those poor people have to die? There's no God, why is it always that the evil people get away with certain things? Why is it that the evil people always have longevity? Why is it that the evil people who's always cheating and stealing and cursing and doing things they shouldn't, why is it that they have longevity in their life and they're given all these different chances and they have so much ease in their life to the end of it? And they have so much money and riches and respect to the end of it. Right or wrong? Don't we see this every day? This is something that's normal. Fine. We talked about and answered this question, last class, right everyone? Those who are the righteous and the most beautiful of creation and strongest in faith always receive the heaviest and strongest of trials. They always get the hardest test. Am I right or wrong? Due to the fact that we know the history of all the prophets and messengers. The prophets and the messengers received the hardest of tests. And if you read the story of all the righteous in the past, all of them had received they had the hardest lives. We said Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah died where, everyone? Died in prison. Unjustly. They put him in prison, he died in it. Was he a righteous or a wicked man? Righteous individual. Calling nothing to the truth and calling the people to be righteous and to be purified in their belief system and in their actions and being upright people in society. That's all he was calling to. And despite of that, look what they did to him. Is it clear or is it not clear, everyone? So that's what we're saying. The fact that people who are righteous and people who are innocent bystanders sometimes what takes place and you'll find that they die. And they're not given longevity in their lives. And they seem like they die out of oppression. You'll find that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes their reward in the hereafter tremendous. As we talk about, inshallah, the next class, where the Prophet ﷺ said, what, everyone? That the great reward is due to a what? A great test. Inna idham al-jaza' ma'a idham al-bala. The tremendous reward will always be due to a what, everyone? A tremendous trial and test. So depending on your test, or depending on the reward, all depends on how much how severe your test is. So those is to answer the questions of what we see in this world, where you'll find that people that good people seem like they always get slighted. That's due to the fact that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to get their reward, or make their reward tremendous in the hereafter. And that's the reason why you'll find that certain people who are innocent bystanders and good people, that they sometimes it seems as if they're losing, but they're not losing. Rather, the people who are evil are the ones that always have, in certain cases, longevity is given to them in order to establish that you had so many chances until when the time came when you were belligerent and you wanted to stay upon what you were upon, and when Allah came, there's nothing you can say now where all the different chances you were given and you exhausted them. And you'll find, like we talked about in the day of resurrection, when a person will be dipped in paradise. Focus. He'll be dipped in paradise, and he was given the most severest of trials in this world. What Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, they will be dipped in paradise, just one dip. And then he'll be brought out and will be asked, how did you see your life? Did you see any difficulty? And the person on the day of resurrection said, I didn't see any difficulty in my life. So all the 60 or 50 years you were going through of difficulties and things being strenuous and hard on your life, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bring that individual on the day of resurrection, one dip in paradise. Bring him out and ask him the question. All the hardships that you've seen in your life, do you see it now? Due to the fact of the reward that you see you're getting? What's the individual going to say, everyone? I didn't see any difficulty in my life. Rather, we know the narrations of the Prophet ﷺ that we know, which comes in Sahih al-Jami' with the Greek Imam al-Albani authenticated, where he said, يَوَدُّ أَهْلَ الْعَافِيَةِ فِي الدُّنْيَا حينما يعطى أهل البلاء أجرهم يوم القيامة أن يعودوا إلى الدنيا حتى يقضى بالمقاريض. As it says in the narration, He said that the people who had a bunch of ease in this world and were pardoned and were given a good sound state in this world constantly, not never being tested. Listen to this narration. That was constantly being, that weren't tested. He says, يَوَدُّ أَهْلَ الْعَافِيَةِ حِينَ يَرَوْا أَهْلَ الْبَلَاءِ يُعْطَى جَزَاءَهُم يعني من الأجل العظيم أن يتمنوا أن يعودوا إلى الدنيا حتى يقضى أو يقطعوا بالمقاديد. He said that the people who weren't tested in this world, the people who were excused, they didn't have that many trials or anything. He says when they come on the day of judgment and they see people who are tested greatly in this world, that the reward that Allah will give them on the day of resurrection. Those people who are excused in this world, when they see the reward that they'll be given on the day of resurrection, they see the reward that they'll be given, meaning those who are tested in this world, they're going to wish to come back to this dunya and be cut up. Again, huh? والله الجهل مشكلة يا أخي الجهل مشكلة والله مشكلة. Can you push it for me? والله الجهل بلاء والله بلاء 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 بلاء. طيب, what was I saying, everyone? Oh, that the people who are excused in this world, they're going to, when they see that the people who are tested in this world, that they're going to be given that tremendous reward, they're going to wish or hope to come back to this world until they are cut apart. What do they mean by that? Meaning when they see the people who were tested severely in this world, the tremendous reward that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given them, they're going to want to come back to this world for their reward to be greater like theirs, so they can receive the similar trial of what they had in this world. So that's the answer to the question to those who say, for example, there's no God. Because if there's no God, why did my mother have to be on crack and why she throw me in a garbage can and abandon me? Or why did my mother not care for me? What did I do for her to abandon me? You never know. Maybe Allah wanted that to happen to you so you could be a stronger person when you grow up. How many people who was given a spork and a spoon fed, spoiled all their lives, and they don't realize the great ni'mah that Allah has given them? But the only people who truly realize it is the people who went through things. So when they was given that type of ease, they appreciate it more and they value it. You understand, everyone? Everybody, when they don't have it, they're proud of it. You never know why Allah did not allow your father to be in your life. Maybe if your father was around, he'd be toxic for you, make you upon misguidance. Maybe your father might have been you going astray, leaving Salafiyah. Maybe your father was Ikhwani. If you hung around him, you would be Ikhwani just like him. Maybe you'd be Sufi just like him. Maybe it's good that Allah Ta'ala did not put him in your life for a reason. And the list goes on and on and on. You never know of the secret of Allah Ta'ala until, like we said, we always feel things in our lives of why certain things take place, and it hurts. It does. But at the end of the day, Allah Ta'ala allowed these affairs to happen for a reason. We know the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ about the man who was never tested with having a headache. The hadith is called Mirdam. And I have to go back and check the wording of it. At any rate, I'll give it to everyone later. At any rate, there was a man that the Prophet ﷺ said, there's going to be a man from the hellfire that will approach you. He said he was that person of the hellfire, right? So the individual came, and he came upon the Sahaba, and he said to some of them had what they call Mirdam, which basically means a headache. Like a headache, or some type of head pain. The individual came, and it was said to him, have you ever had Mirdam? And he said, what's that? I never had that in my life. Until it was said about the individual, he said that if you want to see a person from the fire, there you go right there. Why? Why did the Messenger of Allah say that? He was never tested with anything. Never had any test with nothing. To the point where he wasn't even tested. He didn't even know what a headache was. Didn't even know what a headache or a head pain was. Wasn't tested with anything. He said, what is a middle dam? I don't know what is a middle dam. Never had that before. So these affairs, like we said, happen for a reason. So that's where you'll find Ibn al-Qayyim that he puts in his poetry. He says this. Ibn al-Qayyim mentions his poetry. He says, فَلِذَلِكَ نَرْضَى بِالْقَضَاءِ وَنَسْخَطُ الْمَقْضِيَ حِينَ يَكُونُ بِالْعِصْيَانِ. He said, for that reason, we're pleased with the divine decree of Allah. نَرْضَى بِالْقَضَاءِ وَنَسْخَطُ الْمَقْضِيَ حِينَ يَكُونُ بِالْعِصْيَانِ. Listen to this. He said, we're pleased with the qada of Allah, and we're angry sometimes with what happened, especially when it's disobedience of Allah. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? He says, we're pleased with the divine decree of Allah, but we're angry with what could take place or what happened. He says, especially when it's what, everyone? Disobedience. So every time when you think of something happening, make the distinction between what's the what? What Allah, the one that allowed it to happen, and what actually what? Happened. So make the distinction between the two. And do not generalize both. Why I'm saying that is because from the deviant sects of the Mu'tazila in the past, did not make this distinction. Listen, focus what I'm saying. There was deviant sects of the Mu'tazila of the past who did not make this distinction. As a result of it, they fell into deviation of the qadr of Allah because they did not have these categories. And I will go inside the details of it later because this is a little bit confusing. You'll find, as we talked about, in regards to what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala predetermines, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala either allows what? Good or evil to happen. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allows good and evil to happen in this world. All of it goes back to His what? His wisdom. Allah wanted it to happen for a reason. Whether it be good or whether it be evil, and what's in regards to the creation. And what is in regards to the creation. Do you have a pen? Anyone? Anybody have a pen? Your phone. Don't worry about it. What happens in this world of good and evil, of what we perceive, when we say good and evil, meaning in regards to what? The creation. Not in regards to what? Allah. As we talked about before, evil is not ascribed to Allah. Ever. Allah, if Allah allows evil to happen, it's due to His wisdom. If Allah allows good to happen, it's from out of what? His wisdom. And we have to be obligatory. It's obligatory for us to be pleased with it and be what, everyone? Be patient with it. All of it is good in regards to Allah. There's no such thing as that evil is ascribed to Allah. So in regards, if you want to sum up everything, what we're saying, everything of good and evil and pertaining to Allah, all of it is what, everyone? All of it is good. And it's obligatory for what? To be patient. And it's obligatory for what? To be pleased with it. No matter what it is. Of what we perceive to be what? Good, or what we perceive to be what? Evil. That's in what they call the maf'ulat, or the maqdurat. And what took place or what happened. Now let's put to the side the first category in regards to Allah. We said it's obligatory to be what? Please, it's obligatory to be what? Patient. The highest level, there's a higher level than that in regards to Allah. For people who's only specific, people who's on another level of Iman. where evil things happen, of what we perceive, of course, but you're thankful for it happening. That's on another level. And that's only for certain people. Can you imagine something right now? You find out that your wife and your children were murdered, and that reached the news. Can you imagine someone of a high level of iman? Of course, they're going to be tested. That news reaches them. Of course, everyone. They know they have to be pleased and thankful for the law. These are realistic affairs that happen to certain people. It happens. It hurts. It's like somebody taking a sharp sword and digging it in your heart. Painful. Extremely. To hear something like that. Fine. In regards to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then one has to be what? Pleased. And be patient. Of course, on the second side of the spectrum, of what took place, which is what everyone, the maqdur or the maf'ulat, or the maqdurat, what took place and what happened, we know we're supposed to what? Hate it. We're supposed to detest it. Because it was disobedience of Allah that took place. Right? Fine. What's another level, which certain people can only reach, is to be thankful for those affairs. And which we'll talk about in a minute, inshallah. That we'll talk about in a minute. Somebody called you there? Nobody called you there yet? We got to call you there. Amir, you want to call her? No, let Amir call her. Go ahead, Amir. No. Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar. Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar. Shanu la ilaha illallah. Shanu la ilaha. You good? You can drink it. You right. I was just looking, wondering what that noise was. You good? You right. طيب بسم الله. So like we said, everyone, in regards to Allah Ta'ala, it's obligatory for one to be thankful and to be pleased. And that evil is not ascribed to Allah. Evil is not ascribed to Allah. However, evil is ascribed to what, everyone? To the creation. Ahsant. As they call, you'll find that Ahl-Ilm use the word maf'ulat or maqdurat or makhluqat in regards to the evil that takes place amongst the creation. That's what we describe as either what? Either good or what? Or evil. As far as evil, it's not ascribed to Allah. Also, we talked about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what He wills to happen, breaks down to two types in regards to what Allah allows to happen in His creation, of good and evil. Right, everyone? Of good and evil. Allah allows it to happen, right? Then we know what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has predetermined and gave permission as far as in the religion. As far as in the religion itself. And everything that Allah allows, what He legislated in the religion is all what? It's all good. طيب. The Prophet ﷺ in that dua said that evil is not ascribed to you. As it comes to Sahih Muslim. In that long dua, al-istiftah. The evil is not ascribed to Allah. And you'll find in which the jinn, and sort of the jinn out of respect for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they didn't say that Allah intended evil. If you notice in the ayah. And it's a reason why it was like that. وَأَنَّا لَا نَدْرِي أَشَرٌ أُرِيدَ بِمَنْ فِي الْأَرْضِ أَمْ أَرَادَ بِهِمْ رَبُّهُمْ رَشَدًا. It says in the ayah, so the jinn, listen to this ayah. The jinn said, in the ayah, the jinn, the unseen jinn, they said, and we do not know, which is to let you know that the jinn, they don't have knowledge of the unseen, of what Allah wants to happen to the creation. He says, وَأَنَّا لَا نَدْرِي أَشَرٌ أُرِيدَ بِمَنْ فِي الْأَرْضِ. We do not know of what is intended of evil for the creation, or does their Lord want for them guidance? Notice the context. The jinn didn't say Allah wanted for them evil. They said, we don't know if it was intended or if it's intended for the creation what? Evil. The jinn, out of respect, did not want to ascribe evil to what? Allah. Out of respect. So they didn't say, we don't know if Allah wants evil for the people. So they said, Urida biman fil ard. Is it intended for the people of the earth evil? Or does the Lord want for them guidance? You'll find that these are from the evidences and proofs to show that what? Evil is not ascribed to Allah. Evil is not ascribed to Allah at all. Due to the fact that Allah allows good and evil to happen out of some what? Wisdom. Allah wanted some wisdom behind something happening in the creation of what we perceive as evil. And like we said, when we say evil, that means it's amongst what, everyone? Amongst the creation. Not with the Creator. And I want to make that point clear before I move on to the next point. Is it clear or is it not clear? So if a person comes to you right now and says, there is no God, why God allow my son, why God allow those kids over there to be shot and murdered? There ain't no God. Why God allow that to happen? Because there will people, you will hear the statement out of people's mouth. And it is the reason why people deny the existence of belief in Allah. Because of this type of nonsense. So now you have the answer. You're equipped now to answer the question. No, Allah wanted that to happen for a reason. We hate what happened. We detest what happened of those little children being oppressed. We detest that. But ultimately, you do not know the unseen in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala might want of a tremendous reward for those children in the hereafter. You don't know. You don't know. A little bit of pain now for an eternal of pleasure in the hereafter. And then we know what happens in this world is nothing compared to the hereafter. What reward will be in the hereafter is nothing compared to the little bit of good we put forth and exhausted ourselves in to an eternal or eternity of bliss and pleasure for the rest of our eternal lives and the hereafter. Little bit of pain now for what? Eternal pleasure in the hereafter. And the more the trial is, the greater the what? The reward is. Is it clear, everyone? So our pain and our suffering, our exhaustion, our weariness is all in order, inshallah, for the preparation of a tremendous reward coming. If one believes in what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has promised and what He will prepare for those who endure it and stay steadfast upon what's correct. And like I said, these days and times, trust me, I know it's hard. I see the frustration in so many faces and so many people, and I've heard it all day long of all the negativity I see and hear. And the people, the righteous, always used to stay positive to keep the morale of the people lifted. To always let you know that there's what? There's hope. And it is. The only hope is coming through the people of Tawheed, the people of Haqq. That's it. That's the light that's left. It's the people that's upon Salafi and the people who's propagating it. And those who are upon steadfastness, even though the majority of the people are what? Becoming corrupt. And these are the days and times that you see what the Messenger of Allah said is actualizing now. Where he said, alayhi salatu wasalam, Tuba lil ghuraba. He says a tree in paradise for the strangers. And he said, who are they, O Messenger of Allah? الَّذِينَ يُصْلِحُونَ عِنْدَ فَسَادِ النَّاسِ وَإِذَا فَسَدَ النَّاسِ. Those who stay steadfast upon what's correct and upon righteousness when the people are becoming corrupt. And how many people do we see around us becoming corrupt every day? There's a lot. I see it every day. So much corruption is increasing day by day by day by day. And people are not only in their uprightness and their aqidah and their minhaj and everything. And in so many ways people are becoming corrupt. And the people of innovation are anticipating and waiting for our weakness and waiting for our demise. For us to fall and to slip. So these days and times you see it. However, we know ultimately, based upon what we've been reading in these lessons, right everyone? These affairs were predetermined by Allah to test us. To see who will remain steadfast upon what's correct, to those who's just going to drift along with the currents and the waves of evil, to be corrupt along with the other people in the name of everyone else is doing it, so let me do it too. You understand, everyone? So people are trendsetters, they're not trend followers. And we mean trendsetters in regards to setting the trend in regards to following the sunnah and following the proper methodology and following righteousness and uprightness. It's easy to be evil, brothers and sisters. It's easy to be evil. It's easy to be negative. It's easy to be corrupt. It's easy to be sneaky, conniving. It's simple. It's a very, very easy thing to do. It's hard to be righteous. It is hard to be upright. And every time you increase some more righteousness, know for sure Shaitan is going to send more of his minions upon you. And you might not even be looking for it. A Shaitan will send one of his troops to you. It's happened to me all the time. I'll be minding my business, not doing anything to nobody, and bang, somebody come up behind me, start screaming and howling. I'll be like, whoa, where'd this come from? Out of nowhere. You understand, everyone? You won't even expect it. The more you shy away from negativity and the satanic life that these people are chasing, the more Shaitan will try to send someone after you. If you don't look for it, I'll send somebody to you. You understand, everyone? It happens. Happens to me all the time. Always, and trust me, I can feel out who has something in the back of their mind for somebody for me. I can always smell it, but I don't show it. But I know, and the people of the Sunnah know. We have senses for things, but we act like we don't know what's going on. But we have true senses and smell what's going on to detect certain things. But we're not what? We don't fight. We can't fight every battle because we're only one individual. We're one in person, but we engage in certain things that's most important, which is to educate the people in these affairs and preparing them for this evil future coming. That's what I'm focused on, and especially the youth. Preparing for it. The future that they embark upon is an evil, evil future. And it's not going to get, it's going to get more evil before it gets better. So when we're gone, the only thing we'll have left is what we taught them in this class right now. So in regards to what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, like we mentioned, said, brothers, everything that Allah predetermined to happen, like we said, it's obligatory to be what? Pleased, and to be what? Patient. In regards to the maf'ulat, what took place amongst the creation, depending on what it is, one could either what? Be pleased with it, or he can hate it, or what have you. Is it clear? And that's due to the poetry, as Ibn al-Qayyim mentions, it says, نَرْضَى بِالْقَضَاءِ وَنَسْخَطَ الْمَقْضِيَ حِينَ يَكُونُ بِالْعِصْيَانِ. He says, when the thing that happened or took place was disobedience, then it's obligatory for you to what? To hate it. And depending on, like we said, then we get into the aspect of commanding the good, forbidding the evil. Then we know that that in itself is another what? Is another affair which needs instructions. Because certain people do not know how to command the good properly, nor do they know how to what? Prohibit the evil properly. But ultimately, we know that the start of it, if it's disobedience of Allah, then we detest it. Now, when we want to command the good, forbid the evil, now there's a certain criteria, and in what? And engaging of commanding the good, forbidding the evil. Because those affairs now has a whole separate what? Instructions for it. Because again, the command of the good, forbidding the evil is another affair that's not good. Not everyone can do it. We'll talk about that later. Right, so the next ayah, if you look at your books, everyone, now you'll find that the great Imam that he used the ayats in the book of Allah Ta'ala, such as the Surah At-Tawheed. Where Allah Ta'ala says in his book, if you look, it says, وَمَن يُؤْمِن بِاللَّهِ يَهْدِ قَلْبَهُ وَاللَّهُ بِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ عَلِيمٌ. That's the ayah. The statement of Allah Ta'ala where it says, whoever believes in Allah, Allah will guide his heart. And Allah is all knowledgeable of everything. You'll find that the great Imam Alqamah, who's Alqamah, everyone? Alqamah ibn Qais al-Nakha'i. He's from the Kibar Talamid of Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud al-Ghafil al-Hudhali, Ibn Ummi Abd, Abu Abdurrahman, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud. From the Kibar, from the great students of Abdullah ibn Mas'ud was Alqamah. His name was Alqamah ibn Qais al-Nakha'i. He's from Kufa. He was from the Nakha'i tribe. You had Ibrahim al-Nakha'i, you had Alqamah al-Nakha'i, you have a whole bunch of people from the tribe of Nakha'i. Anyway, Alqamah ibn Qais al-Nakha'i. Alqamah, he gave the statement when he was explaining this ayah. You found that? You found that ayah, Hassan? Alqamah ibn Qais, that he explained, it is the man that is afflicted with an affliction. And he knows that it's from Allah. And he's pleased with it, and he what? Submits to it. Everything that we just mentioned a couple of minutes ago was all summed up where? Right here. It said, هو الرجل تصيبه المصيبة فيعلم أنها من عند الله فيرضى ويسلم. The man, he's afflicted with affliction. He knows that it's from Allah, and he's pleased with it, and he submits to it. Like we said, we hear these texts all the time, but they're the hardest to what? They're hardest to apply. They're hardest to apply. For Allah Ta'ala says in His book that if you believe in Allah, meaning if you believe in His qada and His qadr, and His divine decree and His destiny, and we know that from belief in Allah is to submit to what Allah has preordained to happen of good and evil. And that is from the belief in Allah as far as the absolute please or pleasure or Allah, or you being content with Allah as your Lord. Is that when things happen of a catastrophe or something that's displeasing to you in any affair, no matter what it is, whether it be in your body, your health, your money, no matter what it is. Someone who's loved, dear to you, or someone that did something evil to you. No matter it is, it all falls under what we're mentioning right now. And there's numerous examples of this. No matter if it's your mother, your father, your children, of those who are dear to you who might hurt you. Or that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allowed them to die and Allah took them from you. That's all from these affairs. These affairs, like we said, are very, very hard to endure when we are tested with it. But however, it's incumbent upon one to what? Submit to it. And if one submits to it, Allah Ta'ala will give him a tremendous reward, which comes in a hadith, which is a Sahih Bukhari, where the message of Allah Sallallahu talked about the individual of his child died until the malaika, Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala asked him. He says, Allah Ta'ala says, يسأل الملائكة هل قبضتم ثمرة قلب عبدي وفضلة فؤاده وثمرة قلبه. Did you take my slaves, what was most dear to him and most precious to his heart, meaning his child? قالوا نعم. Yes, my Lord. He said, ماذا قال عبدي والله أعلم بما قال. ماذا قال عبدي فقالوا حمدك واسترجع. He praised you and he said, verily to Allah we belong, but verily to Allah we will return. He says, فاشهدوا وابني وابنوا لعبدي بيت في الجنة وَسَمُّوهُ بَيْتَ الْحَمْدِ. Build for my slave a house in paradise and call it the house of praise. Build for my slave a house in paradise and call it a house of what? أُبْنُوا لِعَبْدِ بَيْتًا فِي الْجَنَّةِ فَسَمُّوهُ بَيْتَ الْحَمْدِ. Call it Bayt al-Hamd. He says, after when affliction afflicted that individual, what happened? He said he praised you and he made istirja'. Verily, he said, verily to Allah we belong and verily to Allah will we return. Verily, the most tremendous test is when the affliction reaches you. That's the hardest part of the test. Or when a person, once it happens. So verily the test, fi awwal al-musibah. It's in the first part when it happens. And that's when the test really is at its highest what? Level. To see what you're going to say. To see if you're going to say something pleasing to Allah or displeasing to Allah. As that's what happened with the Messenger of Allah at the grave with the woman who did not know that the Messenger of Allah was standing behind her when she was at the grave. And what did she say? When the Prophet ﷺ came behind her, she didn't know it was the Messenger of Allah. What did he say to her? He said, Isbiri wahtasibi. Be patient and contemplate your reward with Allah. Until the woman said, you don't know what I'm what? You don't know what I'm going through. Until it reached her that what, everyone? The person who came to her and said it was the Messenger of Allah. Until she ran to his house and said, I apologize, Messenger of Allah. I didn't know it was you. Until the Messenger of Allah said that verily, he said that the test is what? Fi awwal al-musibah. He said that the patience is needed when the first affliction occurs. That you conduct in a proper manner. You're not acting ballistic and you're losing your mind. And you're saying things out of your mouth you should not be saying. And all these affairs are what? Angering Allah. And that's what we're going to talk about the next narration that's going to come in a couple of minutes. Where it said, إِنَّ عِظَمَ الْجَزَامَ عِظَمِ الْبَلَاءِ وَإِذَا حَبَّ اللَّهُ قَوْمًا ابْتَلَاهُمْ فَمَنْ رَضِيَ فَلَهُ الرِّضَى وَمَنْ سَخِطَ فَعَلَيْهِ السَّخَطِ. Verily the tremendous reward is due to a tremendous test. If Allah loves an individual, He will test them. Whoever is pleased with it, then Allah will be pleased with them. And if they're displeased with it, Allah will be displeased with them. If you get into the narration and explanation of it, which we're going to cover inshallah, meaning if you're angry with what Allah has predetermined and destined to happen, if you're not pleased with it, Allah will not be pleased with you. And if you're not pleased with His predivine and His decree and His destiny, then Allah will be angry with you. In regards to you being displeased with His divine decree and destiny, then Allah will be angry with you. Why? Because we said before, brothers and sisters, that the rububiyyah of Allah, the qadr of Allah is connected with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's what? Rububiyyah, with His lordship. So when you're being angry with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's pre-divine and decree of any affliction it is in your life, that means that you're not pleased with Allah as being your Lord. That you're angry with that. So that's the reason why He said these affairs are very, very hard. Is it clear or not clear? Like I said, there's so many examples you can make these affairs apply to. And I said to you, for example, things in our lives, things in our health, things in our business, things in our business trade on a daily basis, things that happen in our workplaces. All these affairs happen to all of us on so many ways, whether it be in our relationships with our wives, our families, our children. The list goes on and on and on and on and on. In our health, in our own parents, so many affairs. Even in dawah. And like I said, everyone in dawah, when you embark upon this path of dawah, of calling to Allah, the stronger person you are, the more you're going to be tested. The stronger you are, the more you're going to be tested. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to test you where it hurts the most. And it's going to be a time where the pain is just going to just hit. It's going to hit the hardest part of your heart to see what you're going to say and do. And you might even get harmed by your own Salafi brothers. Allah could test you in that way. It happens. to see what you're going to say and see what you're going to do. It happens. It's reality. You might get hurt by your own people. Shaitan will utilize that to make you flee away from the truth. It happens. If you don't have proper knowledge and a proper way to deal with certain affairs, you might regress. I've seen it happen to so many people. So these affairs, brothers and sisters, they all from Allah Ta'ala will afflict you, and is comprehensive and generalized for so many different afflictions. For Allah Ta'ala, if He allows certain affairs to happen, for you being pleased with the qada and the qadr of Allah, is from you being pleased with Allah as a Lord, as Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala being your Lord. So keep in mind that it's connected with the affairs of His Lordship, as we mentioned. So now, when Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala had mentioned about patience upon these type of afflictions, in regards to His divine decree, all of this is from proper faith. And all of this is also from what? You meeting Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala with a sound heart. If you want to meet Allah with a sound heart, then it's obligatory that you have to be pleased with what He allows to happen in your life. And like we talked about before, there's nothing that you will have and there's nothing that you will lose out on except that Allah either wants you to have it, and if Allah wants you to have it, you will have it. And if Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala does not want you to have something, then what? You will never have it. That's why we say after the salat, Allahumma la mani'a lima a'tayt, wa la mu'tiya lima mana'at, wa la yanfa'u dhal jadd minka al-jadd. Right? That Allah Ta'ala, there's no mani'a liman a'tayt. No one can hold anything back if you want somebody to give somebody something. If you want them to have it, nobody can stop it. La mani'a liman a'tayt, wa la mu'tiya lima mana'at. There's no one that can give anyone anything if you want to hold it back. If you want to hold it back, then no one can give it to him. For those affairs, like we said, brothers and sisters, are all connected with the what? The masa'ib of Allah. The afflictions of what Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala wants you to be tested with. In regards to what these affairs and what we said, if one has submit to the qadr of Allah, and that's the meaning of this ayah, it's sort of taghabun, that whoever believes in Allah, meaning in the divine decree of Allah, and he's pleased with the divine decree of Allah. If you're pleased with that and you submit to it, Allah will give you light in your heart. And He will eventually take that pain that you used to have and He will switch it and make you pleased with what took place. And He will make it, take that pain away and switch it into something of guidance. And you will increase in being a stronger individual. As long as you what? Show and display your patience when the affliction first took place, in a manner what came verbally and also what? Physically, both. By what you either said or how you even what? Reacted as far as what took place in your conduct and your behavior. What was displayed? Did you take a chair when you heard that someone, for example, that you heard that something very, very traumatic took place? Did you take a chair and throw it against the wall? Bang! Why God allowed this to happen? What am I always? I'm a good person. Why does I always get the short end of the stick? I'm tired of this religion. Bang! Throw a wall, throw a chair up against the wall. I'm always helping people out. Why this always did bad to happen to me? And they take a chair and throw it against the wall. Bang! Huh? Why did my mother have to die? She was such a good person. Why did God got to take my mother away from? Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala says in His book, whoever believes in Allah, submits to His qada and His qadr, He will what? He will guide his heart. He will take that pain, switch it to what? To light. Switch it to proper guidance and increase you in what? Stability. Is it clear, everyone? What we took for what's the opposite is what, everyone? The opposite effect. If you now displays discontentment and hate for what Allah has predetermined, then what, everyone? Allah can switch it and put in your heart what? Misguidance and anger. You displeased with the qada of Allah, Allah will be displeased with you. And you might even regress in your religion. And that's what you see happen to a lot of people these days. A lot of masa'ib and afflictions, brothers and sisters, are made for what? They either made to make you a stronger individual or make you what? It can make you weaker. That's in the religion as far as in your faith. And people know this stuff even returns back to what? Fitness, they know that. Everybody knows in order for your body to get stronger, it has to be put under what? Time, it has to be put under stress. Right or wrong? In order for your muscles, every person that's so-called into fitness, everyone knows in order for your muscles to get stronger, it has to be put under some type of what? Stress. It has to. It has to be put, they call it time of detention. Right or wrong? With the proper diet and the proper time of detention, the proper way you're doing it, you're either going to get stronger or you're going to get what? You're either going to get weaker. If you do it right, you'll what? You get stronger. If you do it improperly, then you'll get what? Weaker. Same thing with Iman in regards to faith. So you know that about the physical aspect. Now we're going to talk about what's most important, what's in regards to faith. In order for you to get strong in your faith, you have to be put under some type of what? Stress. And every person, based upon what type of stress you put under, your body will get what? Your faith will get what? Stronger. And the stronger the stress is, depending on the tawfiq of how you deal with it properly, the stronger your faith will be. And the stronger you will be as an individual. You have to be put under some type of difficulty and stress in order to become very what? Very strong. Is it clear? Is it not clear, everyone? That's what you have to understand. So there's no way that you can get stronger except there has to be some type of what? Discomfort. That's applicable in all aspects of life. Anything you want out of life, you're going to have to work hard for it, and you have to be put under some type of discomfort and stress in order to get to that high level. No matter if you want to be an entrepreneur, no matter if you want to be a scholar of the religion, whether if you will be a righteous individual, no matter if you want to be a person that wants to be strong physically, or if you want to be strong in Iman, you have to be strong and put under some type of stress and discomfort. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? Gee. So that's what we're saying in regards to this ayah. When those afflictions come, if you submit to Allah, Allah ta'ala increase you in what? Guidance, to put that light in your heart. He says, وَأَمَّا الَّذِي يَجْزَعْ فَإِنَّ لَكَ يُسَبِّبُ الْعَكْسِ. Listen to what the great Imam Sheikh Salih Fawzan mentioned. يُسَبِّبُ عَمَى قَلْبِهِ وَاضْطِرَابِ نَفْسِهِ فَهُوَ يَكُونُ دَائِمًا في اضطراب وقلق. وَأَمَّا الْمُؤْمِنُ فَهُوَ مُرْتَاحٌ مِنْ هَذَا كُلِّهِ. As for the person who becomes impatient, verily it will bring about the opposite effect. Instead of you being strong, then what? It will cause blindness of the heart. And it will cause oneself to be anxious and disturbed, in a state where he's disturbed. And he will always be in a state of being what? Anxious, uncomfortable, disturbed, worried all the time. As for the mu'min, he will always be relaxed. Because all those afflictions happen, if he submits to it, then Allah ta'ala will give him that light in his heart. So from the necessities of faith, everyone, it's like we talked about before, is that the qada and the qadr of Allah ta'ala is from those affairs of you submitting to Allah and believing and having that absolute precise belief that Allah is your Lord, is that you know, if you truly say that I believe and I accept as Allah being my Lord, then you have to accept those difficulties that happens in your life and those afflictions. No matter what it is. I don't care what it is. No matter whether you lost your loved ones, if they abandoned you, or if your father left you, or you had a bad relationship with a wife or a husband, no matter what it is. What's so strange is, I find that Shaitan plays tricks, and this is just a side point. I noticed that every time something bad happens with some of us, they always want to blame the religion. Like it's the religion fault. And I don't understand that. I really don't understand that. Christians, you'll find certain Christians out there, certain things go left in their life. They never will say, oh, I'm tired of Christianity. I'm done with it. You understand what I'm saying, everyone? I'm done with Christianity. I'm not done with this. They'll never blame it on the religion. Why is it that when certain things happen, everybody want to ascribe it to the religion? This religion, I'm tired of this religion. Yeah, what is the religion? What happened as far as mistakes in our lives have to do with the religion being imperfect? Of certain choices that we make in our life. Of bad decisions. One doesn't have to do with the other. You made the decision. We have to reap what we sow, whether you be Muslim or non-Muslim. You make a bad decision, things happen. I'm not going to blame it on the religion. No, we have to take partial what? Affairs of what happens, of the repercussions of our lives, from bad decisions. No matter, it takes two to tango. Everybody wants to now what? And I said this last class. What did I say in last class, everyone? We said we're patient with things we shouldn't be what? Patient with. And then things that needs patience, we're what? Impatient with it. And we gave numerous examples of this. Sister, if you find you're in a bad relationship, it's time for you to go. Don't stay in there 5 years. You know your husband hasn't had a job in 3 or 4 years. It's time for you to go. Don't stand in there now until you get bitter. Then you want to say, these men out here. Oh, I slam. I can't stand this slam. What did the religion have to do with your bad decision? If you look into the text of Kitaab and Sunnah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala clearly legislated you didn't have to be in that situation. He legislated for you to leave. You wanted to put up with it. So it's the religion's fault. You understand, everyone? You stayed in that situation till you became bitter. It was legislated for you years ago to leave. The man have a job in 1 year, 2 years, 4 years, 5 years. Man, subhanAllah, this man's just been unstable for 6 years. Okay, sister, he's telling you what it is. As they say, if a person tells you who it is, then what? Believe him. Don't think he's changing. This is who he is. You either accept it or leave it. My thing is now, don't start talking bad about the religion. The religion ain't got nothing to do due to your bad decision. Same thing with brothers. Same exact thing. Same thing when we make bad decisions, when we marry certain women. We can't now blame it on the law, this religion, I can't stand this. All these Muslim women out here, they just all nuts and they all just like, they all just bad seeds and they all just people that's just been ran over and done bad, so they want to take it off. Hey, brothers, but you the man at the end of the day. It's been legislated that divorce is in your hand. You didn't have to stay in a relationship until you became bitter. Life is all, we know that life partially is about what, everyone? It's about decisions. That's the reason why there's a reckoning on the day of resurrection, because ultimately we had the what? The choice. That's why there's a reckoning on the day of resurrection. Because certain decisions we made. That's why we are held accountable. So we have to take on the bad repercussions of our bad, poor decisions that we make in life. And we have to just take it on the chin. It is what it is. And you just have to beg Allah and constantly ask Allah to guide your heart to make proper decisions in your life, whether they be worldly or religiously. Both. Because you need Allah in all circumstances. You need Him in your worldly affairs, what you decide, and we need Allah's help in our religious affairs. To give us insight so we stop making bad decisions. And to learn from our mistakes. But ultimately, it is not for us to now blame the religion. Oh, it's Allah's fault. I'm tired of Islam. I'm tired of these men. It took two to tango. Then you get to the nitty-gritty certain situations. I find out and I ask the sister, why are you so hatred? Why do you got sour and bitter so towards men? Why? What did happen? What happened? Man, this man, he didn't have a job for 4 or 5 years. Sister, well, why'd you stay in a relationship then? Why? You didn't have to put up with that. Man, he cheated on me 4, 5, 6, 8, 10 times. Who told you had to put up with that? Allah? Allah told you had to put up with that? Brother now, same thing. Brother, he burnt me. I had STD. What did I do? I was nothing but good to him. Sister, nobody told you to stay in a relationship. Then I find out, before the relationship, y'all was on social media. Talking to each other. Okay, now the reality's coming out now. Now the reality's coming out. How? Oh, so you was dating him. So now, you want to take the anger out on the religion. And you want to release your anger on all Muslim men now. Insane thing, right? So that means you made a bad decision when you met him. You was out dating him and then on the phone and doing things you shouldn't be doing. Right? So he takes part of the sin, which he does. But you have to take it on the chin too. See, the thing about it is that with us, we're all amazed at ourselves. They think if he does it if he did it with one person, he's not going to do that to me. Yes, he is. If he did it 10 times with some other women, more than likely and you started out that way, he's still going to do it to what? He's going to do it to you too. You're no exception. These are the things we have to keep each other in check. We're no better than the next person. See, when we get amazed at ourselves, that's when Allah humiliates us and allow evil things to happen to humble us, to bring you right back to reality. Whoop, bang. You ain't no better than nobody else. Give you a humbling experience. And there's always been things in our lives that always are what they call humbling experiences. All of us have had them. Due to poor decisions that people make. And it's all from the what? All from the qada and the qadr of Allah. My thing is, we never should take our anger out on the religion and upon the Salafi and the Minhaj. If you study the religion, you'll find how perfect Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, His legislation is. What our bad decisions has nothing to do with what Allah has legislated. Nothing. We have no one to blame except ourselves. That's why it says in the hadith clearly, فَمَنْ وَجَدَ خَيْرًا فَلْيَحْمَدِ اللَّهِ وَمَنْ وَجَدَ غَيْرَ ذَلِكَ فَلَا يَلُومَنَّ إِلَّا نَفْسَهُ. So it says in the hadith clearly, whoever finds good, let him praise Allah. If you find other than that, don't blame no one what? Except yourself. So that reason we look in these ayat and these ahadith, and you see how, like we said, they have these tremendous impact on our lives on a daily basis. And that's the reason why it's incumbent upon everyone, stop drawing, that when the affairs of these places or these things take place in our lives, we know how to conduct ourselves. We know what to do. And these things happen on a daily basis. And we have to bring ourselves to account before the account starts with us. Bring ourselves to reckoning before the reckoning starts. So how many times, like we said, these affairs in regards to the qada and the qadr, we'll read this hadith and we'll stop. Read the hadith for me, Abu Hurairah, Sukur. Read it for me. Second one. Hadith, yep. Loud. No, not that one. This one right here. That one. Sahih Muslim from Abu Hurairah. Don't matter of fact. Hassan, you should be. Let me see. Matter of fact. Hassan, read that. Can you read that? Read it. How you got your hood up? You hot? There you go. Tafadal. You're doing good. Don't worry. Keep going. طيب, it says about with Sahih Muslim authority Abu Hurairah, what does it say, everyone? Two affairs amongst the people that is considered what? Kufr. What type of kufr? What type of kufr? Jayyid. There's a specific name we're looking for though. Kufr what? Kufr what? Kufr Jayyid. You could say kufr dun kufr. Kufr amali. Jayyid. Kufr of what? Of the actions. It's a kufr i'tiqadi. Jayyid. So the type of kufr here is what, everyone? Jayyid. Kufr of the actions. The origin of also these ahadith, what would we say, everyone? If it wasn't the fact that there was deviant sects of the Muslims out there that were upon a perverted understanding of Islam, we would leave it the way it is in order for it to have an impact upon the people. So the mere fact when they hear this affair of kufr, khalas, they would abstain from it. They would utilize it as a deterrent for them to what? Leave it off. You understand what I'm saying? However, due to the fact that we have those deviant sects from the Muslims out there who are upon takfir and upon a perverted understanding of Islam, now we have to what? Explain it. So now if a person reads this hadith, what do you understand? It says, إِثْنَتَانِ فِي النَّاسِ هُمَا بِهِمْ كُفْرٌ. طيب ما المراد بالكفر المذكور ضمن هذا الحديث? What's the intent of what? Of the mention of kufr here? Except that we know that what's intended by kufr here is what? Kufr what? Disbelief. Disbelief of what? Of the actions, not the belief. Because if it was disbelief of that belief, then what? You would not be Muslim no more. So what do we say, everyone? It's kufr of the actions. طيب, what is kufr of, it's considered of the actions? It's الطاعن في النسب. كفر عملي. ليس كفر اعتقادي. كفر عملي. الطاعن في النسب. Of people disparaging and criticizing people's lineages. And wailing over the dead. And wailing over the dead. ولهما عند ابن مسعود مرفوعة ليس منا من ضرب الخدود وشق الجيوب ودعا بدعوى الجاهلية. Also the narration of Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, he is not from us the one who strikes his cheeks and rips his clothes or his garments or her garments. And that they call the calling of Jahiliyyah. Or they call to the call of what, everyone? Jahiliyyah. طيب, why did the great Imam put these narrations in the chapter? And we'll stop the class. Why, everyone? Of course, it's from the qadr of Allah. Mm. So niyaha upon wailing over the dead displays what? Yes, that's what I was looking for. Wailing over the dead shows one's discontentment for what? G. As far as in what? As far as in what? In actions. And also in speech, verbal, which is verbal and also in actions. We'll stop here, inshallah. Anything else about anything else anyone have a question about? تفضل. That was called